Welcome back. Well, today we're going to dissect Nigeria's soaring inflation rate, reaching a staggering 34.6%. We'll explore how this economic storm is impacting your daily life, from skyrocketing food prices to the crippling effects of a weakening naira. Joining us for this conversation, we have Dr. Vincent Nwani, is an economist and investment specialist. Great to have you on the show. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Dr. Vincent. So, according to the latest data, inflation keeps, eroding spending power in Nigeria. Talk to me about how you're seeing the latest numbers.
Didn't get you clearly?
Yeah, what are you seeing for the latest inflation numbers for November?
All right, thank you. Yeah, the inflation number of released, I think, yesterday or so by the National Bureau of Statistics is putting year-on-year inflation as 34.6%. Up from about 32.8%, about 2.2% growth on monthly basis. Of course, I'm not particularly surprised by this uptick. Historically, we've seen that in a seasonal period like this, inflation numbers always go up because of Nigerians' way of celebration and purchases that they made. But this year is a bit different. We've seen the key drivers of inflation, acting over the last throughout the year, if I may say so. For instance, the food basket or the food inflation is up. That one is even almost 40%, 39.8%, and in some parts of the country, up to 50%, like a state like Sokoto. Other drivers of inflation, such as exchange rate, is also on the high side. During this last quarter, we've seen exchange rate fluctuate between 1,500 naira per dollar and 1,750, almost hitting 1,800 all-time high. So these are the two major drivers of inflation, especially the food inflation. And of course, the challenge is that is it just season now? By January, February 2025, what are we expecting? Looking at the trend, and unfortunately, the inflationary pressure is likely to continue. Because by March or so, some parts of the country will be going into planting season, and generally during planting season, crops are also a bit scarce in the market. So food inflation will continue to be up. And what we're seeing now is part of the alarm we sounded earlier in the year, where about 33% of farmers in Nigeria couldn't go back to their farmland to farm due to the activities of terrorists that have taken over their farmland. Some of them that actually farm very close to the house. We call them garden farm, just for subsistence purpose, because they can't go far, 3 miles, 3 kilometers out away from the town or from the center of the communities. You cannot farm in most of those areas that used to generate the food that we eat in the country. So having said that, we've also seen that food inflation is high, urban inflation is high. The rural inflation, of course, that's about 32.2%. But all in all, it is time for us to tighten our belt and know that until we do something about exchange rate issue and supply of food to the market, and this supply of food is going to be through going back to farm, cropping and plantation, this issue may likely continue, because the intervention of the government through some of the palliatives they rolled out, through some of the policies they rolled out, such as removal of subsidies, removal of port duty or custom duty on food items, removal of tax from key products such as energy products and services, pharmaceuticals, gas. We've not seen results or positive outcome from some of these interventions.